Okay, so your powers derive through Whitaker?
Forget the divine right of kings. We have the divine right of Whitaker.
It's got the two things libertarians love: no laws and children.
This is literally going to be a lesson in hyperinflation when they go, well, if we gotta pay for
Man.
stuff.
Kidsboro, the failed state by Noam Chomsky.
Hello and welcome to Talking to Tomatoes, the podcast where we analyze fundamentalist children's media from our youth, not only for its quality, but for the pernicious propaganda behind it. My name is Eric Eberly.
And I'm Jubilee, the tomato of joy.
So today we're back. It's New Year, same grind set. We're back to Adventures in Odyssey.
New Year old Odyssey.
Very old Odyssey. It's not that old, but so today we have an episode for you called Kidsboro 1, which is actually part of a 3-part series. And I'm going to say something controversial. This is a fantastic episode of Adventures in Odyssey. The story is good. The jokes are funny. It has a cool message compared to the book series that it's based on.
What? What is
That's
it based
the surprise.
on? Oh, that's so okay. So
that's
Eric was texting me and gave me like timestamps to start listening and when to stop because there was something there was some big reveal that he wanted to surprise me with. Oh, it's based on are they Odyssey books?
Yes. It's
okay.
Like these are tie-in episodes for the release of a book series. And I know because I got them on Kindle and I'm reading them.
Yo! Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Yeah, a great advertisement for the app Libby, our first sponsor. We're not sponsored.
Brought to you by Libby for all
there are 30 copies of this book available and none of them were checked out. So I got one right. I was like, I should do this, but then I was like, oh, there's probably no way. But yep, 30 available copies. And no one waiting to see this. So Kidsboro, what happens is it like I said, it's a tie-in with a series of books published by Odyssey writer, I believe, Marshall Younger. That's absolutely a name I recognize from some of the stuff. And so Focus on the Family puts out these books, and they take place in Odyssey with some new children characters. And
I was gonna say all these kids seemed new.
Yes. They are a new set of characters. Other than Whit and Eugene are in them and
sure.
stuff. Okay, so the weird thing is I'm only like 30 pages into the first book, and the Odyssey episode has almost nothing to do. Like the core plot is still there, but almost nothing that happens in this episode happens in the book, other than the founding of Kidsboro. So the way this episode starts out is you've got these kids and it's like career day at the middle school. And so all the kids are going around, they sign up at a jobs fair style thing and they go to all of these to their jobs, and everybody's disappointed. The kid who wants to be the main character, what's his name? Nick? Scott? No, not Scott.
Nick sounds right.
Maybe it's Nick.
Andy.
No, it's not Andy. Because it's really bothersome as you go through, as I'm reading the book, because like every name is like literally, the writer was going, I don't know, what's a one syllable that I can just throw in here? It's like Nick, Max, Scott, Jeff. I think there's a
Zeal.
Dennis, and I'm like, wow.
Oh,
Dennis.
Zeal goes kind of hard though. A kid named Zeal.
and Focused on the Family, I would not be surprised, but. So the kids all go to this job fair, and everybody's disappointed. The main character goes to visit the mayor, and instead of seeing the mayor, because the mayor's called away to another city on business, which, I don't know, it just kind of seems like, why is the mayor going to a different city? Like,
Hold on, my mayoral talents are needed elsewhere.
Away! He's not a diplomat or anything, so it's like... And so instead of seeing the mayor, he goes to a zoning meeting. And is like, of course, it's weird doing something with the... And again, another one of these weird Odyssey details, which, by the way, that weird Odyssey quirk of glossing over important stuff and focusing on details is preserved in the writing of this book.
Interesting.
Which yeah,
Something
I was like,
that
okay.
something that bothered me about that kid, because one, the whole time I kept being like this fucking nerd who's like, "Oh, I want to talk to the mayor and give him some of my ideas because I'm interested in government." I'm like, "You fucking dork!" Like that wasn't me going taking business law at 17 in our
Yeah.
community college. But also, I was like, I feel like that kind of kid would might enjoy a zoning board meeting.
Yeah, it's. I feel like they want the character relatable, but it's like for him to be the mayor character, he has to be interested in politics, which certainly at the age of 12, as this character um, is a pretty dorky thing to want to do. So it's like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, like whether he's cool or he's a
I feel like
dork.
what would make more sense would be to be like, they get there, he's ready to talk to the mayor, and like everything is like too important, and so they go, "Why don't you go play with I don't know, here's a model, like you can dust the model of the town that's right here." And he's
Yeah,
like, "Oh,
something where he's disappointed because he doesn't actually get to do government. Not he gets to do government and is disappointed. But I mean, it is part of the setup for this whole thing because all of his friends they meet up at Wit's End, and there's one girl who wants to be a reporter, and so she goes to an
hold on." This was it's funny you said that you distracted me with that being time for the book, but I was about to say this is one of the more pernicious episodes of Odyssey I've ever seen, with one of the best jokes I think I've ever heard. Maybe this, I was gonna say this year, but this year's only a few days old. But I'm like, it's certainly the best joke I've ever heard in Odyssey, because
okay.
they let it sit right there. Okay,
Oh,
so the
the
joke. Do you mind if I?
no.
Okay,
Explain the
so
scene at the bookstore.
so reporter goes into the most like a like 1800s German man who's like, "Oh, hello, Fräulein." I'm like, okay, they found a guy in the office who can do a German accent. Um, but she's going there to interview him about his banned book section, and I was slathering. I'm like, oh, they're gonna have the Bible be in there. Like maybe it'll get meta, and it'll be focused on the family books or in the banned book section. And the guy walks him back and goes, "Okay, here's the banned book section. Let's see, trombone for beginners, clarinet for it, like advanced clarinet solos." And it was banned books, like
Band,
marching band
marching
books.
band books. See,
And I was literally like jaw on the floor. I could not believe how good of a joke that is.
and it was also funny too because I was like, I feel I feel like it almost went over my head because I was like, oh, you think it's gonna be, he's got Jack Kerouac and and all these banned books, kind of a thing. Because I too was very interested in how Odyssey was
What?
going to handle like
Because it's
book bans.
like they want to be persecuted, so you'd think it would be the things, but everyone in Odyssey seems so wholesome. That's not cartoonishly evil. Is like wholesome, so like, will he not let her go into? Does she want to go to the banned books? Yeah, and then the whole thing is an elaborate setup. And like I said, they just put it right there. He's like, here they are, beginning with trombone, and she's like, banned books. And then she just goes, banned books. I'm like,
See,
well done.
even me for a little while, I was sitting there and going like, "Oh, you think he's banning pieces of literature?" And he's gonna be like, "Yes, I just hate the trombone." So yeah, the reporter is like, "This was a bullshit fluff piece. This wasn't a great expose on
She says
on
bullshit, which is
censorship."
really surprising.
Yeah, no way. Um,
Oh, Mr. Whitaker, career day was fucking bullshit.
oh my. Well, sometimes work is just bullshit. Like me, sitting here listening to children talk
Shit,
about their work
shit
problems.
really do be like that sometimes.
And then there's another character who wants to be a cop. Awesome.
Awesome, but also very funny where she's like talking. She
Do I
uses
get a
the word
gun?
piece. Do I get a
Do I get a
piece?
piece?
And like this is the first time where I think there's been like a fuddy duddy old person. Where the cop is just like, what?
Yeah. So all these kids have gone to career day and then meet up to drink their sorrows away at Wit's End, and they're like, "This is crap. Like, how are we supposed to do stuff?" And Whit is like, "I've got an idea. Summer's coming up, so I've got an idea. Give me a couple weeks." and you're just like, okay, that's definitely
Okay.
the sort of delayed gratification that middle schoolers are known for being able to tolerate.
Yeah.
Um, and so
Kids love
they,
waiting for shit.
yeah, waiting weeks like they don't already have plans for the summer. And so then Whit takes them but into the woods behind his house or behind Whit's End, which is just like think I'm
There were
gonna
so many.
die
There
in
was like
this.
in a 15-second turn like section. There were multiple concerning turns of phrase. Mr. Whitaker took us on a field trip. I was like,
Mm,
why would he do that?
you're not an educator.
Drove us out into the woods. I was like, to murder you. Then someone said I didn't know the woods go back this far.
Yeah,
I
like they're
was like,
way out there. And he's like, well, I wanted you to be close enough in case something happened.
well, yeah, they're also yeah, it doesn't matter that they're like, oh, you're close enough. Yeah, you're close enough so that you can go here during the day and still go home.
Yeah, so he takes him out into the woods and he's built a bunch of little do they use the word clubhouse
They
in
say
the
clubhouse once, which didn't like I don't know what that means, but
I
it felt very pointed.
in the book like it is a word that is I don't know, maybe they felt that saying house was overstated because they are specifically described as quite small. I mean, maybe even shed would be too much for what these are, both in terms of their construction and their side. But it sort of grates after a while that they say clubhouse and clubhouse and clubhouse.
At one point, someone just says we met in the pavilion, a building with a roof and no walls. I'm like, thanks.
Very descriptive. Yeah, I mean it's yeah
Ah, the florid prose.
boy God. Speaking of prose, this is I personally have a little bit of a complex about sort of not being sure always when people say something has bad writing. I am often not sure either what they mean or able to like. I mean, there are stuff that's obviously that makes no sense. That you know, we're not talking like grammar and stuff like that, but like quality of writing to me feels like a subjective enough thing to be
Hmm.
like just saying that it's bad writing isn't enough. Like you need to say more.
Oh, that reminds me of this. I genuinely understand what you mean when you say sometimes you're not sure what people mean when there's bad writing because there's this like viral TikTok sound and it's like every eldest daughter is the first lamb to the slaughter, so we all dressed up and we all looked fire. That's not good writing. I think that's the original like someone reacting to the
The thing
original
that someone
recording.
reacted to, yeah.
It doesn't say what this book is, so oh, maybe it's a Taylor Swift song. All right, cool. But when someone was like, "That's not good writing," I was like, I thought it was like ironic writing to use this kind of like jazzy prose and then be like, "And we all looked fire."
So we all look so we all look fire, like kind of a thing, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like,
Um,
"Oh, is that not good writing?"
I
Anyway, that
mean,
was
oh, I'm actually not like because we've only listened to the first episode. Maybe we'll listen to all the other two for the net for
the
this net
next
for our
two for
next
our
one.
next. Yeah, that's a good
So
idea.
just so we know where these because there are three Kidsboro episodes and and then like I want to see where they get to and then I can talk a little more about the books. But the writing is such it preserves that Odyssey thing about skipping over important stuff and focusing on bad stuff. Like there's something bad that happens and there is a character who is introduced in a paragraph as this like southern scumbag like he just moved to Odyssey and he's got like a southern drawl and he shows up after this thing has happened trying to sell the kids of Kidsboro insurance like using the Kidsboro money, which again we kind of need to we'll go back and establish Kidsboro,
Okay,
but
we'll fucking
they
get into that.
spend an entire paragraph in this book made for middle schoolers talking about insurance, and then once he finishes describing it, they skip to the end of him having already sold like there's no how do people respond and there was the main character is like resisting this but like we don't see any of that. It just he describes insurance for a paragraph, and then he He's like, by the end of the thing, Max had sold insurance policies to five people, to what's his face, and five other people standing nearby. And it's just like, why are we writing like that? The number of conversations that are described in a paragraph rather than had in dialogue. It's like, this guy is a writer for a radio show that is just dialogue. Why is he so weird and bad about writing dialogue? Like, is it him going, "This is my breakaway"? Oh my gosh, I'm
Hey,
getting so mad
honestly,
about this.
maybe. That is, yeah, that is very funny that you would move away from that.
Yeah, yeah. It's just so many things that is described. There's another thing where the guy the main character goes back to God. It even feels weird to call him a guy because they're all children. Something that is said, like the back cover of the book says, is like the only rule is that nobody can be over the age of 14. Which that's weird. Why are you saying it like that? I guess Teensboro. They were hoping for a Teensboro book
Oh,
series,
so yeah,
but
spinoff.
anyway, we should probably like we have literally kept saying
Hey,
Kidsboro, and I don't
Jubilee and
think
Eric, what the fuck is Kidsboro?
yeah, what the fuck is Kidsboro? So it's a town. They build these houses and they're like, it's a town. You can do whatever you want with it. Like, you guys are the first. All the kids that were at Wit's End are all going to be like the city council and the first citizens of Kidsboro. And the also weird thing that is not in the book is Mr. Whitaker has all of this reference to the Constitution and the Founding Fathers, something that is definitely absolutely not true, which is that they use the Bible as the basis for their first laws. I mean,
We'll talk about that when we get into it because I have some slightly divergent thoughts. Because yeah, I was literally there was a line where he's like, the founding fathers thought that government and the Bible, and I was like, go on, like should be linked or something. I was like, I mean, unless you read the foundational documents where they say separation of church and state, but I digress.
yeah, so they found this, and then they're gonna like bring kids in, and everybody can get their own house. It's very funny, but also just it reminds me, if this wasn't focused on the family, I'd be like, this is a freaking libertarian wet dream story of these kids who they're like having their first meeting and talking about like, shouldn't we vote on things? And then they're like, but we don't have a founding document, so we can't vote. So it's like, and then they're like, okay, so we shouldn't vote. Do we all agree? And then they're like, yes. And they're like, wait, we just voted
Wait,
on not
did
voting.
we just vote on not voting? Was very funny too.
That was funny.
I was just gonna say it's got the story is a libertarian dream because it's got the two things libertarians love: no laws and children.
And it's actually very funny because something that comes up in the book. The other thing is not no actual independence, because like one of the citizens is the child of a guy who owns or works at like a lumber yard, so he can get scrap wood. So that's not produced by the citizen.
Well, yeah, they're also just all given a house. It's like you're teaching them how to. I don't. Yeah, it is funny that they're like, we'll give you like no laws. Anyway, you all get a house.
In the book also there's a character who is using the Kidsboro money, which by the way, they're like, hey, we need money. What are we gonna do? And I'm just like, it's like they can't decide if Kidsboro is a city or a country, because they're like, do we need an army? Do we need wait, is that in the book, or do they talk about that in
No, they
the
tell they say about what should our military look like, and then they
that's
were
okay.
like, there was a funny little government is a waste of time joke. We spend all the time arguing about our flag and what our military uniform should look like, but we don't have a flagpole or a military. And I'm like, vibes.
But yeah, in the book there's a character who is like he's a kid who knows how to cook, and so he opens like a bakery, but he's getting his materials by buying them from Whit using Kidsboro money, which Whit doesn't use. So then I'm like, we're in a trade deficit situation. All the money is all the Kidsboro money is going, which means, and then I mean, of course, the economist in me is like, you can't just print your money. That like, we're literally, is this
Not
literally
how
going to be a
money
less?
works.
This is literally going to be a lesson in hyperinflation when they go, well, if
Oh
we gotta pay for
man.
stuff.
Kidsboro, the failed state by
The
Noam Chomsky.
the failed state of Kidsboro. God, the book is so weird.
God, I
Like
low-key want to try to write something like that with you. That's the most writing a ridiculous version of this where everyone like it would be like Adventures in Odyssey meets like Atlas Shrugged, like that really heavy-handed way they're like, do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know the Atlas Shrugged?
I read part like one almost halfway through the second volume of Atlas Shrugged, so I know how that is written,
The
but I haven't
opening
seen the
scenes,
movie.
someone walks in and says like, "I have a meeting with Mr. Capitalism, and I'm from the government." And the like secretary says like, "Oh, the people that waste all of our that tax like the waste all of our tax dollars." And it's like, "Bitch, I have an appointment. What are you talking about?"
He asked
It,
to see me.
it's all like that. It's like everyone is always commenting. It's just that conservative, very heavy-handed. You have to throw a political point into every line of dialogue rather than just writing the story.
There's a science fiction a very famous science fiction writer, Robert Heinlein, who is also a fucking nutbag libertarian. And there was a book of his that I was reading, and there's literally a part where somebody is working something and looks up at our main character and starts to speak, and I was like, and then I just looked down, I was like, yup, it's like 2.5 pages of a fucking libertarian rant about objectivism and the sweat of your own brow and actual pride in your work and stuff. And I was like, is this a thing that if you're a libertarian for long enough, no one wants to talk to you, so the only way you can get your ideas out are like putting them into a book?
Libertarians don't want to talk to you because you're all insufferable.
Yeah, you're all trying to fuck each other over. I don't think the episode Adventures in Odyssey episode Kidsboro is actually a covert libertarian screed. Boy, though, the Kidsboro books came out in 2008, which I
That's when the
mean,
episode came out.
but they were tie-ins to the book. But I was just wondering about like the Tea Party, and that was when Obama got the year Obama got
Yeah,
elected.
so the original air date was May of 2008. So
So he would have been campaigning, but not yet elected. So yeah, I
yeah.
mean the Tea Party rose a little bit later. So yeah, I don't think this was them trying to make a pitch to big tent in libertarians and Tea Party types. It goes on. They found the Kidsboro, and there's businesses and churches and stuff. And
Is there a church? I was actually surprised they didn't have a kid who wanted to be a pastor or something.
there is in the book, but it doesn't
Oh,
come up other than the fact that they refer to him as the town minister. And I'm just like, I mean, I don't know. It just, to me, it is weird. It would have been weird as a child to be like, I'm going to be the pastor. Not
I'm
like
going to
even like
play.
I'm going to be a pastor in the future, but like I am the pastor like right now. It has big you know kids doing like make believe weddings, or and like with their stuffed animals or whatever. It was odd.
But you don't want stuffed animals. You don't think stuffed animals have the right to get married, pervert?
Oh, oh, wait, what? How does that make me a pervert? Yeah, man, yeah, that's a real. Have you stopped kicking your dog yet? Question. Um, fuck. I now I'm confused because I spent a lot more time reading the book.
No, that's fine.
So
Just this
so
information feels relevant.
the rest of the episode begins with like it's like a mystery where somebody's house starts stinking, and then they figure out that somebody had tunneled up under, and somehow
It's
that's
like
where the stink
I
is
imagine
coming
what they
from.
mean is they just kind of like scoop so they could reach in, but they use the word tunneled up. Yeah, they use the word tunneled up into your house to leave a canister of something stinky.
Like yeah, like I mean, I assume it's fart spray, but I don't know. They didn't want to use the word fart or something like that. But yeah, some sort of stink spray.
I love the girl who's playing the cop. I mean, like a cab forever, but she's very funny the whole time. She's just like, Nelson, do you have any enemies?
Do you
It's
have
just
any
like,
enemies? Oh my god, I Yeah, it's very interesting because the book is, again, it's so weird. Like, if you told me, like, there are so many ways where you could tell me how this book was written that I would 100% believe you. If you told me that, like, this is a person who resents his job writing dialogue for Adventures in Odyssey, I would believe you. If you told me that he, like, outlined, like wrote an outline of the story, and then somebody's like, yeah, cool, write that book, and then instead of like sitting down and writing the book, he just took the outline and started injecting dialogue to be like, well, the characters should talk. I would get it, because like there is a chapter where the first two paragraphs are our main character going to Whit's end, like at the end of a long day, and give me a milkshake, Whit. And but the conversation is not had, it is described. And then literally the next paragraph, it just like starts in the middle of something that's happening the next day with a character who's going to be opposing the mayor for his next term. And it's just the way the temporal relationship of anything is so disrespected in the writing of this book that you're just
Interesting.
like, what the fuck? Like, I was reading along and I was like, I've got to be getting, like, surely I'm halfway through one of these books, and I was I have a collection of it's only available in a collection of all four Kidsboro books, which is a total of about 300 pages, and I'm like 30 pages in.
Jeez.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not this is not going well.
One of the part that I think, the story's crazy, the story's wild, it's genuinely interesting to see how, like, again, kind of independently, if it wasn't focused on the family, I still think that a lot of what's going on is very interesting. Like, yeah, a bunch of kids that are like, whatever. And oh my god, they're like, one of the first times the mayor kid goes and talks to Wit. He comes to Wit, and for a split second, Wit's, I think, doing something very good. He goes, Wit, like, why do we need laws? And Wit's like, do you need laws? Doing good old Socratic method. I think that's the Socratic method of just being like, why do you need, like that's a good question. Why do you think, or like, I think he's asking, like, why do you want laws, or why do you think we have laws, or something. And then that eventually, and for like two or three exchanges, he's literally just answering the questions with questions to make him think a little bit harder, and it gets interesting. But then this happens like at least twice, and then at the end, he just suddenly completely shifts gears and is. The founding fathers believed that the government and the Bible should be connected and
Let's
or
continue the
linked.
Socratic method and go, well, should we base our government on, like, this is such an interesting idea as a way to teach, I guess, civics, of
Yeah,
like I almost think, I feel like this would almost work better, but you wouldn't get kids into it, as like a, let's just sit down and like pretend we're starting in your social studies class. Go, all right, we're gonna sit down and make a city. And then the teacher just sits back, and then they're like, well, what do we do? And they're like, what do you think you should
what
do?
do you do? Like, how would you start a city? Like, well, we need, and kids would be that, well, we need policemen, and how do
They talk a lot in the book. The money is like such a preoccupation, because in the book, the way they do it is they have to vote. The city council basically has to approve new citizens, which I thought was like this Odyssey. I don't have a sense of how big Odyssey is, but it feels pretty small,
I
which
would
means
agree with
that
that. Yeah.
this is the activity of the summer for kids. And to have it be literally months of well, although I suppose in the episode they're like, this is happening over the summer, and in the book it just starts, and then they're going along for months of stuff, and they're very,
Wow.
very slowly adding citizens, and I'm just like, that feels mean and exclusionary.
Yay. Hey, kids, I built the four of you a radical new thing. And there's one kid who just, like, shows up at one point. I think Max, the the bicycle kid.
Is that Max? I forgot his name. But yeah,
I think his name's Max.
you'll hate this. Eugene is in the book. Uh,
Right.
and this is the last thing I promise I'm going to say about the way the dialogue is. The reason why I say I feel like he's resentful of it is because the amount of time that conversations are just parentheses, or not parentheses, quotation marks dialogue, and then the next line is a different set of quotation marks in word, and it goes for a while. Like, compared to the lines of dialogue, there are so few, like, he said, she said, they exclaimed, that it's just like, you don't know how to write a book. Go back to writing for radio, I guess.
Yeah,
But
Jesus.
but yeah, in the book, money is this huge preoccupation, and the big economic question I have is what they do is when they vote to add a new citizen, they give them Kidsboro money, but then they have to turn around and buy their clubhouse, which takes up most of their money. They're not precise about what like how much they mean. They're real proud of their tokens, and Starbucks is what they call them, which is very funny.
This is
Uh,
2008, man. Starbucks is a thing. You can't.
Yeah, you can't just call them Starbucks, which again feels very like, I don't know, company town thing. But then it occurs to I'm waiting for for this grand, trade deficit conspiracy, because in the book so far there's a character, there's a bunch of characters who aren't in the radio show. Namely, I believe her name is Veronica, who is a pretty popular mean girl. Fucking, I don't remember his name, but another kid who is like a new kid and not popular and kind of a quiet nerdy, but not Eugene. And there's a little Eugene. There's a baby Eugene in here who's also an
Hmm.
inventor and a science guy.
I think that's Nelson or something.
Nelson.
Okay.
Right. That's his name. Which once it got going, I feel like Nelson is a character that either comes into, because like I started to, when he's sort of put in relationship with Eugene, I'm like, maybe that's something in later episodes where Nelson and Eugene continue to like work together. So the mean girl wants her friends to be in the city, and there is a straight up like not quite mob style imitation intimidation. It's a little more like corrupt union boss, where she's like, I'm gonna make your life miserable, and then just there's this thing that comes out of nowhere where, again, this she's described as a pretty girl, but she's, I mean, like, literally is described as like leaning over the desk and getting in his face and like, I'm gonna make your life miserable if I don't get my way, because the city council, it has to be a 4-5 vote to get somebody into the town. But then she gets close, and there's all this descriptive language about like how good she smells, and like how everybody wants her to
You
like,
write no descriptions of anything, and then you decide to talk about how pretty this child is.
yeah, how pretty a 12-year-old smells. Like, that's not cool. um
Ew.
yeah, so which again, it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm too old and set in my ways to be like, if she's such a mean terror, then why does anyone like her? Like that, like
Yeah.
it feels
You know
weird to
you
me.
know why we don't like popular people is because they're popular and nice. And you're like, damn it, you're hot and nice.
Yeah, that's the thing. But
I mean, it's a staple character. I don't have a big problem. I have a problem with,
yeah,
yeah. Oh, I got distracted earlier, but like Whitaker consistently, well, like at one point, I think it's the second time the mayor goes back to Whitaker to ask about
the
the
child
things.
mayor,
He goes,
we've been
child
saying
mayor.
the
I'm so
mayor a
sorry.
lot. We're talking about,
The mayor,
I
child
think it's
mayor.
clear we're talking about the child mayor.
The child mayor goes back to Whitaker, and again, he's doing some Socratic stuff where he's like, "We gotta write down the laws." And he's like, "Why?" He's like, "So we can reference them." Well, why do we get to make the laws? And that's when he stops and he goes, "I gave you the job of making your own laws." It's like, okay, so your powers derived through Whitaker, like
Forget the divine right of kings. We have the divine right of Whitaker.
divine right of Whitaker of Wits End.
That's kind of funny that you say that, because I'd forgotten about that, because in the book Whit is way more like manipulating of people. Like he is not doing Socratic method. It's like there is a right answer, and when they are not getting it, he's like, but and it is literally like we're inside the main character's head, and he goes, I could tell that Mr. Whitaker didn't like my response to that situation, and then he changes his mind. Like there's, but yeah, Whitaker is running a trade deficit. It In the book he feels a lot more like a, what is he? Is he, building a child army? He's going to take over Odyssey at some point. What's going on? Oh my God. This isn't. I'm keeping my promise because this is technically not about the dialogue. It's about the writing. But there is a character. There's a crime that is committed, which I'm not going to talk about the crime and the character who's accused of it, because I feel like it has to loop into these episodes because it feels like a major point. Certainly for the first book. But there's a crime that's committed, and there's a character who decided his job that he wanted to do was a private investigator. And so there's this whole awkward interaction where he's finally getting a case, which is also weird because you have a police chief who's investigating crimes and a private investigator who is afraid of the police chief because she's the mean rough girl. Oh, and one little throwaway within the first two paragraph, a weird body shaming fat like child is overly described and in a negative light. So fuck you, Odyssey. As this conversation is happening, as the mayor is hiring the private investigator because for what is fairly clearly this miscarriage of justice that's happening, the private investigator character is like this younger kid who is so excited to get the case. And there's these words that I'm going to actually look them up because it is so weird the way it is written. He goes and he is to hire the private investigator who has not had a client in months. And so let me read a passage. I need a detective, says the main character. It doesn't say that here. That is me providing the context because it is literally just, quote, he, the private investigator, dropped the comic book as if his hands had suddenly gone numb. He acted like he had no idea what to do at this point. Should he ask a bunch of questions? Should he get a magnifying glass? What? Why are we now getting the perspective inside of a different character's head? Like,
Oh, yeah, that's strange.
this is the main character, like, doing a bit in his own head, like, for our entertainment without, like, was that a punch-up suggestion? You need to make that chapter funnier? Because it's kind of sad isn't quite the right word, a little more pathetic, because the private eye character doesn't know what to do and all this. But
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see if Whitaker gets more involved. I'd just kind of be like, I guess it's almost like they're kind of straw manning they're kind of simultaneously showing the need for government because people without government, it's chaotic. That's weirdly what this is a good example of. But they're also clearly poo-pooing government. Like
yeah,
it's weird how inefficient they are because, like you said, they have a police force and a private investigator, and
there's actually a pretty funny joke where the mayor character is, he gets there because he was so bored in a zoning meeting, and a little bit later he's in a meeting and someone goes, okay, so in this zone is where we're going to put the things, and he goes, oh my gosh, I'm back in a zoning meeting.
back in a zoning meeting.
Especially this late. I suppose in one thing in the 80s and 90s, like Republicans were, even though still ostensibly about small government, they were not as anti-government as they are today. But it feels weird in 2008 to be like doing something that shows that is either kids trying to be government or show it. As we've continued to talk, I'm now more and more feeling like this is either a shift or an arm of Focus on the Family trying to bring in a more reactionary element, and by providing something for their kids.
What's so bizarre about it is that it's kind of showing the need for government because, like, well, it's showing the messiness of government, but kind of in a realistic way. And so it's strange because
Yeah, in the book, one of the most recent things I read, the mean girl is like has been like fomenting unrest and is now like, I'm challenging you for the mayorship. And literally the kid goes to Whitaker and goes, "Here's our town charter. Did we I don't know why, like, they wrote it. Why is he giving it to Whitaker to put his legal eye on it?" He's like, "Did we put anything in it that says when we're going to do elections?" And he's like, "Well, we forgot to do that." Which again, like, that's a very like, "Hey, government, we gotta." It wasn't it cool how many things they remembered to put into it.
so yeah, this was a weird one. I'm super
We say
excited
that
about
every
the
time.
tie-in. Yeah, it was a weird one. I it It's such an interesting idea that I literally, if you think so, I might pick up the books to read them too. But
Oh
it could
yeah,
also be
no.
really fun for you to do a book report for me and give me the sections to experience raw.
Yeah, yeah. I'll continue to read. We'll do the other two episodes. I don't think
Yeah.
it makes sense to do it out. We'll do the Kidsboro 2 and 3 next time, and I'll continue to read the book, and then we'll sort of figure out how we do. Because yeah, hey, they're easy to get, and we can do that next time. In the meantime, follow us on all the socials, or individually. I am Eric.Eberly on TikTok.
And I'm Titan underscore joy on TikTok. And you can also find our channel on YouTube, Talking to Tomatoes.
Yes, yes. Uh, Talk to you later, citizens of Tomato.
And I'm Chris. A curfew is now in effect. Rest in piss, Dr. Wilson. God damn it, I said Dr. Wilson again.
I'm
Oh,
staying in. Staying in.
it's saying it, it's fine. I want to do an episode on Dr. Wilson so we can fucking just roast his ass and
Explain what's going on.
why I have this
Oh,
dominionist who lives in northern Idaho on the brain all the time, apparently.